Council.
Good afternoon again. Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, distinguished guests, fellow councillors, welcome to our annual general meeting of Monmouthshire. Early this afternoon, as my last civic duty of my year, I attended the funeral of a previous chairman, Councillor Olive Evans, and I'd now like you to give a minute's silence for her in her memory. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. First item on the agenda this afternoon is apologies for absence. Councillor Debbie Bakeborough.
Val Smith.
Councillor Joe Watkins.
Joe's back.
Thank you. Councillor Brian Strong, you've moved, Brian.
Councillors Bob Greenland and David Duffy.
Councillor Dimitri.
Councillor Tony Eason.
Second item on the agenda this afternoon is declarations of interest. As there are no declarations, we go on to the next item on the agenda. And before I call for nominations for the new chairman of this council, I would like the opportunity to address you all. Why the box of chocolates is there remains a mystery, and I will reveal at the end of the meeting why it's there. This afternoon, as I say, 1 o'clock, Jan and I attended the funeral service of Councillor Evans in Mega. Councillor Evans had been the chairman of this authority from 2004 to 2005. And it was a very good service, and there was a great attendance, particularly of previous chairmen and chair ladies. My first and foremost duty this afternoon is to thank my fellow councillors for electing me to this post as your chairman 12 months ago. Having carried out the same duties from 2010 to 2011, it was beyond my wildest dreams that I would be called upon to carry out a second term. It has been an amazing year, which has passed extremely quickly, with many highs and 1 or 2 lows. Having travelled around this county from top to bottom and east to west, I can assure you that Monmouth is a wonderful place. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this county. Everybody pulls together, everybody is very courteous, everybody looks to each other to help. And I think that, personally, I think we're being overplayed with the media at the moment to try and make us feel as miserable as we can, and it really isn't like that in Monmouthshire. The most memorable event of the year for spending 30 hours on the frigate HMS Monmouth, sailing from Portsmouth to Plymouth. The kindness and hospitality and generosity shown by all the officers and crew was second to none. A trip which Jan and I will never forget, especially myself, hauling myself up into the top bunk, which at 75 years of age is no mean feat. Another highlight was the Lancaster bomber flying very low over Chepstow to remember one of the Dambuster squadron members who lived in Chepstow and who for we were unveiling a blue war plaque in his memory. The bomber circled Chepstow 3 times and one couldn't help but be moved by it. You will all know that my charity this year has been for Gwent Music, an organisation very close to my heart, and one as a council we should take great pride in. The service he gives week in and week out to so many of our youngsters. Several of our neighbouring authorities no longer support Gwent Music, and so they become even more reliant on councils such as ours and parent power. On the 1st of July this year, Gwent Music will be holding their summer showcase, and I'd ask each and every one of you as members to go along and support them. It's in Cardiff at St David's Hall, and it really is a very, very good evening. Which brings me sadly to the low point of the year, the passing of our Joy Robson and her husband's Joy and her husband were great supporters of Gwent Music. Some weeks ago, after Joy's funeral, I received a very generous cheque for my charity in Joy's name from Neil, which we have included in our donation to Gwent Music. In years past, chairmen have not given their charity presentation until after the year of office has passed. But Linda, our ever tenacious PA, used her good offices to enable me to carry out that function today. So for £7,075.
Thank you so much from everybody at Gwent Music. Thank you, Chairman and all councillors.
Thank you, Emma, from the dais here, for all the work you do for our young children. 3,000 children a week receive music lessons from Gwent Music. So few of us really do appreciate that. Can I thank you, Sheila, and your husband, Chris, for being wonderful support to Jan and I over the last 12 months. Because it has been a busy year, you have filled in for us on many occasions where there have been clashes, and we are truly grateful. Traditions dictate in a few moments, Sheila, I will pass my chain over to you, and I cannot think of a more worthy recipient. I'm looking for a certain member, but I'm not sure it's in the room. Is Jez here? No. Well, that was totally off the record and out of sorts for this place. I was going to present Jez with Shirt of the Year competition winner. And it's just my lucky really late but it hasn't finished there. The leader of the Labour group, Dimitri, and I have undertaken that at the Christmas meeting of this council, we will also join in the competition. So we look forward to the December. Joe, do you want to take this as leader of the Liberal group? Do you? That's
My
the,
shirts are nowhere near as good as Jess's.
well, your shirt isn't as good as his either. So.
Thank you very much.
Winding up now, can I thank the three people who look after us as chairs? That's Linda, Julia and Steve. Led by Linda, who keeps us on the straight and narrow, and really assisted by Julie. Steve, who drives us everywhere around South East Wales in all weathers and at all times of the day and night. A job well done. Many thanks to Steve. And then it says just lastly on here, and I knew what I've got to say at this juncture. Being chairman, you cannot do this job on your own. You need the support. I have a wonderful wife. We've been married 47 years today. I presented her with the flowers this morning, so we've done all the necessary duties of the day. But being serious, love, we couldn't have done this job if we didn't do it together. She reminds me where I'm supposed to be going, makes sure the right clothes are out for me to wear, points me in the right direction and generally guides me, and then accompanies me wherever I go. And it's a dual act, and I know that Chris and you will be the same to follow us. And there we are. That concludes my speech of the day, and I shall take my seat. Councillor Fox.
Thank you, Chairman. There we go. Mr. Chairman, Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, ladies and gentlemen and fellow councillors, it's right and proper at this time that we reflect a little on Peter's a year of office. Firstly, can I congratulate you on your anniversary? I didn't realise it was today. We would have helped you make it even more special if we'd have known. But big congratulations. And also thank you on behalf of the council for allowing us to reflect on Olive briefly. Several of us were at the funeral this afternoon, and what a wonderful lady and past chairman of this council she was. Those of you who are new to the council may not have known her, but a picture is on the wall down our members' hall there, and she was an absolute star, and she commanded the council meetings very well, and we will all miss her. But to reflect on you, Peter, and I would like to take this opportunity to share a few thoughts. As we knew, you're no stranger. You were no stranger to this role, albeit you'd done it back several years ago, and because you occupied the post through 2010 and 11, as you shared with us. And with that previous experience, I was always confident we could expect a high caliber chairman, and we certainly haven't been let down. Because I remember when you were chairman first time, you found it quite challenging a bit at the start, and 10, 15 years on, or it's getting on, no, it's not that far, it's not quite that far, 9 years on, clearly the experience had really stood you in good stead to take us forward. I thank you for the way that you have carried out your office. As expected, you ran all proceedings well with a very professional and fair approach. Your tolerant and dignified manner helped our council businesses to run smoothly, albeit at times there may have been some turbulence for you to manage, as is the way with the theatre of council debate, and it doesn't happen too often in here, but at times you've had to flex your muscles, and you've done that extremely well and brought calm back to what can be sometimes lively debate. But as we know that managing the council meetings is not the only business of the chairman, they are the ambassador for this organisation right across the county, across the region, across and throughout Wales. And I know that you've upheld that role in an exemplar fashion, and I thank you for that, because it's so important, because being the ambassador, the first person of this council, sharing what we do in so many places is so important to what we do. So I do thank you for that. I hope you and Jan have had an enjoyable year. It sounds like you have. You've clearly been busy. You've attended well over 100 and probably 120 odd formal events without all of the more casual events which you'd have done in the name of a chairman as well. And as we've seen, you raised a massive amount of money. I know that was supplemented via Neil, and we thank him for that. But a fantastic effort and a wonderful cause, and I'm so pleased Emma was here today to receive that. And Jan, can I thank you most sincerely for all you've done in supporting Peter again through this year of office. And I know how committed you have been, and to have to go through that twice is quite a big ask. So thank you so much. So, Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the Council, and in particular from the Conservative group, where you sit when you're not chairman, can we thank you once again for all you have done. And we look forward to continue to work with you, because you're not leaving us. But we wish you both well in whatever you do moving forward. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Peter. Councillor Petruni.
Thank you, Chairman. On behalf of the Labour Group, we would like to say, Peter, you've had a great year. Been very good chairman of the council meetings, very firm, mostly fair. Many things distinguish your chairmanship over the last year. The one thing is the speed of the meetings. And I can say, on behalf of all councillors, we appreciate the efficiency by which you try to get all the meetings through. Although I haven't appreciated the way you seem to always look at me when you say, I want a short meeting today. You're trying to tell me something, Peter? The other distinguishing feature of your chairmanship is your extraordinary coughing fits. And I can say to you now, I've had 999 on speed dial every council meeting, just in case, as you start to turn red. I must say, since I've been elected as council, you and your wonderful wife, Jan, have been really nothing but supportive and friendly to me. And let's say that's not easy. I'm a bit of a pain in the arse, and I know that. But nonetheless, you're willing to offer advice, guidance, a Monmouthshire badge, which I continue to lose, and Monmouthshire tie, and you very kindly offered your establishment for my wedding at a knockdown price, I remember. That was very kind of you. The other thing you like to say to me all the time is, you're more of a socialist than me. That's your favourite phrase, isn't it? I'm not sure who that reflects on, well, on me or you, to be honest. But I will tell you this, Jeremy sends his regards. Seriously, though, what I've realised over the years, and I've got to know you, as I've got to know you, is that you really care about this council. You really care about its residents. You really care about its officers. You really care about its councillors. You're emotionally connected to this place and to us. And I saw it when you struggled to contain the emotion when we had the sad loss of Joy Robson, that wonderful officer. And I cannot think of a better representative for this council and of Monmouthshire, someone who embodies Monmouthshire and what it means to all of us.
Thank you very much, Dimitri. I'm sorry you didn't take up the wedding offer, but never mind. Councillor Blakeborough.
Thanks, Chair. Oh, Peter Clark. First of all, I have to say that I was extremely impressed to discover that you have represented residents in this area for over 31 years, and I hadn't quite realised that. And that shows a huge commitment to public service and serving others. It shows great stamina, and then I think you are someone that does not shy away from hard work, and you wouldn't be where you are without a lot of hard work. I would call it a privilege. I've had the privilege of getting to know you over the last 7 years, mostly as a member of the planning committee. And I've got to know little bits about you, and I don't think anyone would argue with me if I was to say that you do enjoy the finer things of life. You appreciate good food, good company. You share that, and you are notorious for your impressive buffets and your spreads and breakfasts, also very good. So you do share those things with people. Now, I always think you're a bit of a spin-off from the pre-Raphaelites, of the pre-Raphaelite movement, arts and crafts. And William Morris has got a famous saying, and I think this should be your mantra in life and how you bring things to council and in everything you do. And it's have nothing in your life that you do not know to be useful or believe to be beautiful. And I think that's what you're like, and you do bring, and it's a gift you bring to Monmouthshire and within your role as chair. You believe that everyone should have that opportunity to experience a little bit of luxury and a little bit of elegance. And you only want the best, not the second best, you only want the best for those who live and work in Monmouthshire. Now, coming back to the planning committee, I have learned you are absolutely passionate about building good quality, well-designed homes, including affordable homes. And you made this very clear when we were sitting in the bus and we're going on site visits. And I constantly heard you saying, and stamping your feet at times, saying, quality and good design does not necessarily have to come with a hefty price tag. You just need imagination. And you absolutely push that through. You have an eye for detail, and I think this is something to do with your background in quantity surveying. You have a belief that if something is worth doing, it's worth doing well. And that, again, is carried through in your role as chair. And on the planning committee, you've definitely earned the title of a design guru. I think we turn to you for design and guidance. And you have this personal campaign, and people on the planning committee will recognise this. Peter's pet hate are buildings without eaves. If you try and build something without eaves, more specifically, they need to be overhanging eaves measuring 150 millimetres. He also likes chimneys, and he demands quality rendering. But I think this is what you're about, and this is what's so important about what you bring to Monmouthshire. And it's interesting, you started off by saying Monmouthshire is a brilliant place, and I think you celebrate in that. I'm not surprised that you chose Gwent Music as your chosen charity because they provide quality and inspiration in everything that they do, as you do. They are about giving young people of all backgrounds, and I think this is your passion, that everyone deserves these opportunities, so it has to be from all backgrounds, and they're able to express themselves through music, and again, bringing beauty in the world through that. So we've established that you like to surround yourself with quality and beauty, and I guess this is the reason you married Jan. But Jan, I want to know, what is your excuse? You have already said you couldn't have done it without Jan, and I think you couldn't have done what you've done, and you wouldn't be who you are, I think, without the support and the influence of Jan. And I'm not even going to say by your side, because I think Jan's a couple of steps ahead of you as she leads you forward. So as chair in this chamber, you've been, and it's been said, you've been fair, very inclusive, you've been diplomatic, and you've been fun. You've been able to lighten some of the debates with your cheeky humour, and I'm loving this shirt competition. As our representative of the council, what you've brought with your role as chair is generous hospitality and a little bit of the finer things in life. So on behalf of the independent group, we'd like to thank you for a job very well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. I hope you remain on the planning committee in years to come. Councillor Jo Watkins.
Thank you very much. Peter, what can I say? I've only known you actually for 2 years, and they have been a very fun-filled 2 years, but like everyone else has said before, you are an incredibly warm man. So I even remember right when I was a first councillor, quite nervous, not really knowing what I was doing. You made a point of coming and talking to me and checking I was all right and that everything was going okay. So I really did appreciate that. It was very, very kind of you. In terms of managing this chamber, I think you have done an absolutely awesome job this year. There have been times in which the chamber has got a little unruly, and as everyone else has said, you have been very fair in dealing with this. As also has been mentioned, I really appreciated you keeping us to time. My goodness, this chamber can get a little long-winded at times, and you have managed to keep people on point, and that has been much appreciated. Also, from my position sitting on the back row, I have also really appreciated the fact that you have noticed when I've had my hand up, because it is sometimes difficult to get a word in edgeways in this place. So thank you very much for still paying attention to the back row. We do like to have our voices heard as well. I've been very inspired by all of the work that you've done with Gwent Music this year. As the parent of two children, I really value that. And my son has already had lessons from Gwent Music and my daughter has just started. So again, it's an amazingly important charity. So thank you so much for the work that you've put in supporting this charity. And thank you for your term. It has been absolutely excellent.
Thank you all very much. I actually don't recognise the person that you're describing, but I'm grateful to you all for your comments and thank you very much indeed. My next job this afternoon is to call for the nominations for the office of Chairman of this Council for the ensuing year 2019-2020. Councillor Fox.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, ladies and gentlemen, fellow councillors. Once again, it's good to be on my feet, but great pleasure this time to nominate Councillor Sheila Woodhouse to be our chairman for the ensuing year. She has proved an excellent vice chairman, worthy now of succeeding to the position of chairman. Sheila is an extremely hard-working and respected individual who has demonstrated this throughout her council work, her professional working career and her voluntary career. She's a true Monmouthshire girl, born and bred in Abergavenny and educated in town at Our Lady in St Michael's Roman Catholic School, and then on to St Albans in Pontypool and Monmouth Comprehensive Schools. Been married to 45 years to Chris, a great man in front, no stranger to this council, and lived in North Street, Abergavenny for all of that time. Sheila started off a post office career as a telephonist at Abergavenny Telephone Exchange, and after 2 years moved into the post office counter, spending a further 21 years as a postal officer, qualifying as branch manager, managing offices in Abergavenny, Monmouth, Merthyr Tydfil and Newport, the largest post office in Wales at that time, and also spending some time as an area manager. And after spending nearly 24 years within the post office, retired from branch offices and spent a further 8 years as a relief sub-postmaster, providing holiday cover for privately run offices and retiring from that in 2006. Sheila is a past mayor of Abergavenny and was mayor for the year 2013-14 and mayoress of Abergavenny on 2 occasions when Chris held the position of mayor in the town in 2004 and 2016. Sheila also knows the role of chairman of this council, as she was the first lady of the county, obviously, while Chris was chairman here in 2007-2008. Also, she was a founder and secretary of Abergavenny Mind Association, committee member and volunteer at Abergavenny Gateway Club for over 40 years. A former treasurer of Pennyval Hospital League of Friends, a former governor of Harold Road School, a sub-warden and treasurer of Christchurch North Street, Abergavenny, and a member of the WRVS, helping at Neville Hall Hospital shop, recently received 20 years long service medal. She's also a member of Abergavenny Ostrigen, is that how you say that? Ostringham, yeah. Twinning for over 40 years, currently treasurer, having held various positions including secretary and hosting secretary. She's also a volunteer at St Michael's Centre. She's a volunteer at Abergavenny Tourist Information Centre. She's a secretary of Neville Hall Thrombosis and General Research Fund. She's president of the local Operative and Dramatic Society. So, Mr Chairman, fellow councillors, you can see what a tremendous lady we have amongst us. And I just know that you are going to be able to take on this council and run this council and be our ambassador in such a tremendous way. So, Mr Chairman, I have no hesitation at all in proposing and recommending that Councillor Sheila Woodhouse be our chairman for the forthcoming year, and do so move.
Thank you, Peter. Can I ask Councillor Sarah Jones to second that motion, please?
Thank you. It's a great honour to second the nomination of Councillor Woodhouse to the role of chairperson. I feel very fortunate to be able to call Sheila a colleague for all of the reasons that the leader has already outlined. I know from one of the first engagements that I undertook as a cabinet member was in your own ward, Sheila, upon your own invite to come and visit Abergavenny Community Centre. And right from the offset, it was absolutely clear that you've got the utmost respect and the drive and commitment within your own area to make a difference, not just for your own ward, but for the wider Abergavenny and Monmouthshire area. You're thoughtful, you're considered, empathetic, approachable, and above all, you want the best for Monmouthshire and for Monmouthshire residents. So I know you're dedicated so much to your life to public service and to the local community, and I know you'll do us all very proud in taking on the post of chairperson in the forthcoming term.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Are there any further nominations? There are no further nominations. Therefore, can I please ask all the members to show their support for Councillor Woodhouse, please? That's absolutely unanimous, and it's a true reflection on you, Sheila. I now invite you, Sheila, to sign and read your declaration of acceptance.
I, Sheila Woodhouse, having been elected to the office of Chairman of Monmouthshire County Council, declare that I will take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the code for the time being as to the conduct which is expected of members of Monmouthshire County Council and which may be revised from time to time.
You might all notice we've gone from bouquets to bushes. No, there's a reason. They are cheaper and we're saving money. There we go.
Good afternoon, everybody. I didn't recognise myself at all in that, so thank you for those kind words. Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, distinguished guests, officers and members, can I say what an honour and a privilege it is to have been elected Chairman of Monmouthshire County Council. That sounds so strange. It is very, very humbling. following previous chairman is going to be very difficult, challenging, a hard act. And I'm sure you will all agree that Peter and Jan Clark have been absolutely, they've shown an example of character, sincerity and leadership, which has been a fantastic example. And I just say I hope to do and keep up all your high standards. In Monmouthshire, we are most fortunate to have lead officers who are second to none, and I'm certain we can rely on them all to continue with their excellent work. All counties and all parties represented here are committed to the well-being of Monmouthshire and its good people. And through difficult and sometimes trying times, cooperation and understanding has underpinned everything that we do. I will do my best to ensure that all opinions are heard and heard fairly, ensuring that Monmouthshire County Council will continue, in my opinion, to be the best council in Wales. I thank Councillor Fox for nominating me and Councillor Sarah Jones for seconding it. And saying those words, I was just overwhelmed. Thank you. And all councillors for their expressions of support and good wishes. I'm delighted that Canon Mark Sodhi has agreed to be our chaplain for the forthcoming year, and I know I will heavily rely on his wisdom. The charities I have chosen for the year are Alzheimer's and Gwent Music Support. I'm sure we all know that Alzheimer's is a condition that affects all ages, and I would like to see the good support given to Gwent Music continue. Can I introduce my consort, my husband Chris, a previous chairman, as we heard earlier, and I think that could be one of for the history books, we've switched roles. I'd like to thank Linda for the organisation today and for ongoing help and support. And once again, thank you all very much. I would now like to present Councillor Clark with his past chairman's badge, which has been engraved to represent the 2 years that he has now been chairman of Monmouthshire County Council. I said earlier with Paul beside me, with our chief executive beside me, I feel a bit more confident. Right. Item 4 on the agenda, I now call for nominations for the office of Vice Chairman of the County Council for the civic year 2019-20. Thank you, Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, ladies and gentlemen, fellow councillors. It gives me great pleasure to nominate Councillor Brian Jones for the office of Vice Chairman for the ensuing year. Brian was born in 1947 at the Noyth Farm, Llanover, the 8th child, would you believe, of Sidney and Gwen Jones, who had come from near Coucil after their marriage in 1926. Educated at Llanfair Kilgedin Primary School, he then went to Queen's College, Taunton, Somerset, where he remained for 5 years. After leaving school, he returned to the family farm, and during his teens and early 20s was an active member of the Young Farmers Movement. In 1971, he married Rose, and for the last 48 years, they have lived at Pont Chemist Farm at Chain Bridge. They have 2 sons, Terry, who is Director General of the National Farmers Union, and Chris, who now runs the family farm and is also an agricultural contractor. Brian became a councillor in 2004 for the Goitre Vawr Award and joined Cabinet soon after with responsibility for county operations, a post that he has held with great success. Brian, I know you and Rose will be of great assistance to Sheila and Chris during the year, and again I have great pleasure in nominating you for the position of Vice Chair.
Thank you. Is that nomination seconded? Councillor Jordan. Are there any further nominations? In that case, can I please have your votes for Councillor Jones? That's unanimous, thank you. Can I invite Councillor Jones to read and sign his the declaration of acceptance of office?
I, Brian Jones, having been elected to the office of Vice Chairman of Monmouthshire County Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the code for the time being as to the conduct which is expected of members of Monmouthshire County Council and which may be revised from time to time. What's the date? 14th.
I'll give you a chamber office.
Right. Everybody's been saying today about how long they've been married, and I'll introduce my good lady in a minute, but we've beaten everybody else that's been up here bragging about how long he's been married. Anyway, I'll come to that in a minute. Just to say thank you, members, for showing your confidence in me and electing me as Vice Chairman of this council. I will do my utmost to fulfil that job to the best of my ability, and I look forward to the task immensely. I've enjoyed my time in Cabinet. Some quite trying times we've had, but it's been really enjoyable, and I've got to say that I'd recommend the job to anybody. But finally, just to introduce my wife, Rose, if she'd like to come and join me. My wife of 48 years. But thank you again for my election.
I now invite the past Chairman's consort, Mrs. Jan Clark, to present the consort's chain of office to my consort, Chris Woodhouse. Stay there. I now invite my consort, Mr. Chris Woodhouse, to present the past Chairman's consort pendant to the past Chairman's consort, Mrs. Jan Clark. And I now invite Mr. Chris Woodhouse to present the Vice Chairman's consort, Mrs. Rose Jones, with her chain of office. Yes, well, isn't it?
Rose for a raise.
With the Council's consent, the remaining items on the agenda will be deferred to the meeting of the County Council to be held on Thursday, the 16th of May, 2019. I would now like to invite the Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, distinguished guests, my fellow councillors and guests, and senior officers to join me for refreshments.